Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome to this week's episode of Behind the Streams, where I take you through the inspiration of this week's post. Hello, I am the sea otter who stole your surfboard. It was inspired by Sea Otter 841, who has become somewhat of a local celebrity in Santa Cruz here.
A very mischievous otter.
It's bigger than, I don't know, that time Ken Kesey held the first acid test in the 60s sometime. I believe that was somewhere in the area of Rodeo Gulch, near that Silver Spur restaurant where I once had some excellent pancakes. But I'm getting in the weeds, or in the LSD, if you prefer.
How to reach the 5 levels of consciousness.
Back to the Sea Otter. Sea Otter 841. Now this feisty little ocean weasel, aka Sea Otter, has been terrorising surfers. Basically harassing them out of giving up ownership of their surfboard or biting their surfboards. All the photos I saw were like wave storms, that kind of level of surfboard. Wave storms, of course, being the cheap kind of surfboard you used to be able to get at Costco, but apparently they don't carry them anymore. So there's even footage of Sea Otter 841 after taking a surfboard, surfing on it. She's a star. She's a little lady boss. I like her. Anyway, that's been the story of the week. This celebrity sea otter that even made the New York Times. But of course, as all news cycles go, there was the initial sea otter biting surfboards, terrorising swaffers, and, just being a general nuisance and aggressive and whatever. Oh, she's so cute. Then came the Monterey Bay Aquarium and associated maritime aquatic authorities attempting to catch Sea Otter 841. Unsuccessfully, I should point out. I don't know if they've managed yet. And of course, now, from what I was looking at this morning, that has brought on the inevitable protests about whether she should be captured or just be let to carry on and continue being a bossy little ocean weasel. Let me be clear, there's no talk of euthanizing her. Euthanizing her. She's good. So with the post, after last week, I feel like I've had a couple of heavy posts in a row. I thought I'll try some little light relief, a little entertainment. So I thought initially, okay, she's made the news, and this has been a regular occurrence. She's doing it quite often. Maybe I'll do a post that is the press conferences.
Maybe you can get the notes from a classmate.
That for some reason, the sea otter comes to the podium, taps a little paw on the microphone and begins with the sentence, "Hello. Hello! I am the sea otter who stole your surfboard." And that was the initial idea. The first step that I did was write just a bunch of those, "Hello, I am the sea otter who stole your surfboard," blah, 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 blah. Let's open some of those, shall we? What do we got here? "Hello, I am the sea otter who stole your surfboard and I'm running for president." So, you get all the bad ones out of the way first. "Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard and I have these pillows to sell." "Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard and I'm just trying to cancel my cable." "Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard and Rick Astley, am I right?" There's like maybe 40 here, 40 or 50. "Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard and I want to see a corpse flower bloom once before I die," because there is a corpse flower in the Santa Cruz. What do you call the place where all the plants are? Botanical Gardens, at the Santa Cruz Botanical Gardens. Anyway, generated a huge list, then went in and picked out my favourites, which are what ended up in the piece. So you can see how that came together in terms of structure. When I started to write it, I couldn't figure out why, not just why, suspend your disbelief about why a sea otter is at a press conference, but why they would be highlighting just the different press conference reactions. Like there'd be multiple press conferences about this one event. Why would there be so many? And I just couldn't make it work. It was like kind of sloppy structure. So I was like, okay, well maybe instead of like the sea otter trying to explain to the world why it is stealing surfboards, maybe it's just trying to get some attention from the actual swaffers themselves, make friends even. The thing about surfing is you always think, oh, it's so relaxing. But here in Santa Cruz, yeah, there's some locals only situations. You could get beat up in the lineup. I've never surfed a day in my life. I'm one of those Australians that's from the hills. Ain't no oceans in the hills. That's just a geological... it's not an anomaly. That's just how geology works. You don't have oceans in the mountains. So I thought, well, what's a good mechanism for her trying to explain why she's doing what she's doing to the surfers themselves? And the first thing that popped into my mind was Craigslist missed connections, which is a little bit of a stretch, but I made it work. So these folks keep dodging her, trying, as she's moving around the surfboard, they're moving the other way. They're trying to protect the surfboard. See, Otter 841, she ain't having it. She's like, this is my board now. She just wants her moment in the sun. And that's when I started looking through events of the past couple of weeks or recent events that maybe she could tie to as a reason for her excuse. The first thing that popped into my mind was the oarfish story that I had read a couple of weeks ago about, just this weird looking fish. I think it was in Thailand, the divers found it. It had bites all over it from sharks. And I thought, what if it was the sea otter was kind of annoyed that the sharks got all the credit for that because she was actually the criminal mastermind that did the plan to bite up that oarfish that's also called the doomsday fish. Fun fact. I figure sharks and sea otters probably have beef, I don't know why. Now, I'll stop here and say I did some cursory research into sea otters and just some fun facts about sea otters that I could just populate into the story. Things like, we've all seen those photos of them when they lie on their back and they sleep and they hold hands. That's actually a protective thing. They hold hands so that they don't float away from each other, and that is called a raft. And then I read this amazing thing where the largest recorded otter raft, if you believe everything you read on the internet, was 1,000 otters. I'm not sure if they're sea otters. They might be river otters. Either way, 1,000 otters in a raft, that's a lot of weasels. Another fun fact, otter mums will wrap their babies in kelp on the surface so they're floating there, so they don't float away. Isn't that so cute? They can store things under their arms. Of course, they can lie on their back and crack open crabs with a rock. Well, they're just lying there. It's very handy. They can use tools, basically. Otter dens are called holts or, wait for it, couches. An otter den is called a couch. That's an otter den right there. Cool. Oh, sea otters don't have blubber in their bodies. They have 2 layers of fur, which traps air between to keep them warm. The others in the piece I thought of were just either like current memes, trends on TikTok, what else? Things that are making the news right now. So like the whole Nepo baby thing that seems to be one of the biggest insults you can make to people just trying to make their way in the world today. That one dovetailed really nicely because Sea Otter 841's mum also had a bit of a reputation. People showing off their office fits on TikTok or any kind of fit. This is my fit for blah, blah, whatever. The prevalence of pickleball, people still talking about pickleball. I thought that would be dead by now. It's still going. I don't get that. Isn't it just half-court tennis with like badminton and table tennis vibes? I just don't get it. And finally, the Attenzione pickpocket, which I had no idea what that was. I had to read an article to find out what that one was about. And it's awesome. It's just this Italian lady chasing pickpockets in somewhere in Italy, probably Milan, pointing out pickpockets to people. Attenzione, pickpocket, the pickpocket! That is a terrible impersonation of an Italian lady. But there'll be a link in below this that'll hip you to what that is. It's cool. So we ended up with, hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard, and I also bit that doomsday fish. Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard, and I collect and catalogue wave storms. Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard, and I took too much Ozempic. A lot of that going around. You lose a lot of muscle. Sea otters don't have any blubber. They cannot afford to lose muscle. Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard, and I accidentally joined Threads without realising I wouldn't be able to delete it without deleting Instagram. Me neither, Sea Otter 841. I had no idea. Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard, and I would like to join your pickleball league. Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard, and I am not a Nepo baby. And finally, the one that wasn't really connected to anything was the poem. I think this one relates to me in that the sea otter has a sort of desperation to have her poetry read, seen. It's rather like me and my desire for people to read my stuff or listen to my podcast, which is Field of Streams, and you can find that on Spotify or Apple Podcast or any of the major. But this was Misconnection, so I thought sea otter poetry, rather like Vogon poetry, could be, not bad exactly, but it could be a thing. I pulled in the rafts thing into the poem. I pulled in the holding things under the arms in the form of like handbags under the armpits. And I think my favourite line in the whole poem is the police report you have yet to file. I mean, as far as sea otter poetry, I think it's pretty advanced. Sea Otter 841 has a raw talent that she could work on a little. Let's read you the poem. So this is in the missed connections for the SF Bay Area, Santa Cruz, all personals. Hello, I'm the sea otter who stole your surfboard, and I wrote you this poem. My heart has been expertly pierced by Neptune's long-loved trident. Sharp, salty and free, we raft as oceanic lovers, storing memories in our handbag like armpits, the taste of love's last foamy bite receding, the endless wave storm wapowing the lip. We crack our mollusks in anticipation of the police report you have yet to file. This poster is okay with a book deal. And that was one of the misconnections. It was a silly post. Otters are cute. I really hope her, bid for freedom remains intact. Not that she has a bid for freedom. She is free now. They're trying to capture her. So I hope she continues to evade capture and continues to not only commandeer surfboards, but to, pilot them into shore. She's a bad ambassador for all sea otters out there. I don't think I have much to add to that. I have no more. Go listen to my podcast, Field of Streams. And I will end this by saying what I normally say on the podcast. Love what you love, and I'll see you out there making stuff. Psych! So there's an update on Sea Otter 841, and I thought I might as well give it to you from this beach. News reports say Sea Otter 841 was spotted lolling on her back with a pup on her belly. Oh my god, she's been communing with more than surfboards. Anyway, if you want to hear me read the sea otter story to you, there should be a link somewhere where I'm pointing. I'm Gen X, I was told it's rude to point, so I have trouble with it. Like, subscribe, check the bell for notifications, and I'll see you around stealing surfboards.